I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine! So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
All right, welcome everybody. RR After Dark episode 3. You may notice we are minus our host this week. He is without internet at the moment. Do want to introduce everybody that's on this week. You have myself, Justice Murphy, driver of the number 12 All About Bugs Chevrolet Camaro. We have Kevin Orlando, driver of the number 27 Starry Chevrolet Camaro. We have Nick Owls, driver of the number 24 Coastal Financial Chevrolet Camaro, and Trevor Earhart, driver of the Black Rifle Coffee and OSR Foundation number 21 Chevrolet Camaro. We'll be recapping this week. We were at Richmond Wednesday night. Fun race. A lot of green flag run. We were surprised, boys. So we'll be talking about that, talking to our special guest, driver of the number 73 Echo Electric. Is it a Ford Mustang, I believe, for Tay McDonald, who should be coming on your screen now. Yes, so we'll be talking to Tay, recapping. He was the pole winner, stage winner last night. So let's lead right into it. Tay, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you found us, how you ended up with us.
Well, I've been console racing since NASCAR '98. Always just used controller and did like the seasons or just an exhibition race. Never really did competitive racing until I got on NASCAR Heat 5 and was just in the store one day and seen the Ferrari 458 Spider wheel. Had zero force feedback. Went home and hooked that up to a TV tray and a folding chair and just got addicted. I ran a league I didn't run a league, but I ran in a league in NASCAR Heat 5. Met a good group of guys there. We all started talking about iRacing and kind of all jumped ship at the same time. My first league I joined, I met Kevin. He was the first guy from Racing Revolution that I met. He brought Nick and Rob over there, and we kind of created a bond. I really liked the way these guys raced, and we were all kind of looking to get rid of that league. And Kevin and Rob were talking about creating their own. So, let's just have fun with it, I guess. Been enjoying the ride.
It's a shock to hear you say that you like Kevin.
Yeah. Well, he's my teammate, right?
90% of people would say differently.
Yeah.
Hey, you should really love your teammate, especially after a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he almost handed it to me, I guess.
Yeah, he tried.
I tried my hardest.
Yeah, so if we want to dive into some Richmond recap, unfortunately, our host was the winner. So we won't have a winner interview, at least not yet. We may do an emergency pod with him, Nick and I, just to get a little talk from him. But I guess I'm the only other one in here that was kind of on the same strategy as him. So We had a late race restart, green, white, checkered. It looked like one guy was out of tires, Christopher Berger in the 36 car. So he had pitted on like lap 158, and we had a nice little, I'd say, 30 lap run to get to that point when we got the initial restart, and then we ended up having a green, white, checkered after that. But you had three guys, I believe, myself, Bennett, and Alex Berube, the driver of the 19 car, who all took two tires, and then everybody else took four. Trevor, I believe you were the first car on four tires behind us, tried to shove it in three wide. It appeared they piled up kind of behind that to get the green, white, checkered, and then we went to take off on the green, white, checkered after choosing. Berger chose low inside. Bennett chose the top line. Berube was behind him, and then Brandon Dunford was behind Berger. When Berger went to launch, spun the tires. Bennett got a great push from his teammate, got out front, won the race. Hey, anybody else's thoughts? Let's hear some thoughts about kind of that end of race strategy, how you saw the race playing out, what we were thinking there.
I actually want to hear a little bit more from the person who I thought should have won the race if something very unfortunate didn't happen to him. Mr. Tay, how were you so fast? Why were you so fast? And what happened for you to go all the way back in the pack?
Um, I don't know. I really like short tracks. Iowa, Richmond, Martinsville, New Hampshire. I don't know. It's just something that comes naturally, I guess. In a way, but I don't know. I passed the pace car after that stage, going into the pits. I obviously don't run up front enough to know you can't pass the pace car. Lesson learned. I won't make that mistake again. But I think I fell back to 18th or so. Really burnt my stuff up trying to get back through the field, and just didn't have enough time. I guess not enough. Yeah, not enough time.
Yeah, we actually looked at that post race because we all knew it was going to be a penalty in the race, but you were barely past it by mere inches, and I mean absolute inches. It's actually kind of crazy how close it really was. But no, talking more about Richmond here. I know Trevor, you were pretty fast there. What were your thoughts?
That race needed to stay green. Second guess myself. It's 2 weeks in a row that I haven't gone with my gut feeling on tire strategy. I had two tires originally checked for that last pit stop, and uh, figured four would probably be a little bit better. Figured a lot of guys would just take four and lost all that track position. Otherwise, I think I would have been in the same spot Bennett was in and had a chance to win that. I mean, after Tay's penalty, I think Tay definitely had short run speed all night long. I think Justice and I were pretty equal to Tay on the long run, so I think it would have been a good race between the three of us had Tay not had that issue. But once I got that clean air on that last restart and Rob was fighting with everybody in Berube, I just checked out and was just clicking laps off and was really kind of heartbroken when that last caution came out. But part of racing, got a top five out of it, but definitely gonna stick with the gut feeling on pit strategy. I got two wins last season off of taking two tire pit stops. So why I've decided to go away from that is beyond me. But we will not be making that mistake again.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty.
I didn't mind the caution because I like Tay had a little pit road issue. We kind of got after the stage in a rhythm. I think we had a quick caution right after the stage, and then once the field spread out, once we got that restart, we were just clicking off laps. Got to a green flag pit stop, first one that I've tried to make all week. I mean, I ran Richmond twice in NIS and never had that chance. And just slid it around, spun, about scared Kevin to the point that he wanted to crap his pants as I
I
was
thought you were
backing
coming
up.
back onto the track, man.
Yeah, I tried to back it up, and it's hard to have the spatial awareness there to know how far you can go, but did a
No,
pretty
you
good
pretty
job
much
of
nailed
keeping
it.
it. Yeah, did a pretty good job of keeping it down on the apron and not drawing out a yellow. I never want to ruin anybody's race like that. If I'm a ruin one, I ruin my own in that situation. So,
You're doing a
but
good
was
job at
able
that
to.
this season.
Yeah, I'm doing a really good job of that. I think I told Nick earlier. I think I have one finish inside the top 15 so far this season, but yesterday, at least getting the stage points and then finishing 17th, finishing third in the stage kind of offset that a little bit. Would have liked to have had the top 5 to go with it, but things just don't always go like you want them to.
Tay, did you have a pit road issue under green too? That
Yeah, I
I
think
saw on the broadcast.
yeah, a couple laps before Justice, and I seen him do it. Kind of made me feel a little bit better that I wasn't the only one that screwed it up. But yeah, it bit me pretty hard.
Yeah, we're gonna talk pit road.
I'm sorry.
Did you
spin?
Yeah, I spun basically the same way Justice did.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're gonna talk pit road though. How about Caleb? 2 weeks after we were talking about the barrel problem at Homestead, Caleb decided to have a barrel problem last night on the green flag pit stop as well.
Is that what happened to him?
Yeah, so he said as he was coming in, somebody was closing in that had already pitted. It was on fresher tire. Maybe it was Burns, I think. And he said he kind of got freaked out, missed his braking point, and just hit the barrels. And ended up that's what ended up causing him, because I thought he was going to be like a 5th, 6th place car, judging by the early run there. And then all of a sudden I look up and he's like 20th, and I was like, what in the world's going on with Caleb? But figured that out. That I don't know what it is with hitting the pit road barrels. It's kind of way out there if you ask me.
Hey, Kevin, how was what did you do at Richmond? You were kind of mid-pack all race, right?
Every time I got somewhere that I liked, I got wrecked. So, pretty much standard short track stuff. At one point, I made it into the top 10. Was feeling pretty good. Was trying a short stop strategy because I just didn't have the speed. So I was just trying to get in front, and then I'd block my way into a top 10. But
as usual.
Bennett, your race winner, decided to hit the wall and come ping-ponging back into me, put me in the back of the pack, and then Rob decided to park it sideways on the exit of turn 2, and that pretty much ended my night.
So Rob parking it sideways, I mean, that was also to do, if we're going to talk about Nick's teammates. Yeah, that was Nick. Do you want to talk about that, or you want me to dive into it because I watched it live?
I'll just break it down really quick here. So Alex, who is notorious for
bombing corners.
Well, I was gonna say burning up
dive
his
bombing corners,
okay,
Nick.
Okay, dive bombing corners, yes, but he likes to burn up his stuff and get the most he can out of every early run. So he obviously, this was during when everyone had somewhat fresh tires. I think it was like 15 laps into a run or something.
No, this was with like coming to 10 to go. Like,
yeah, but no. But tire wise, he came in and I had fresh tires.
No, we were like 20 laps into the run at this point.
So we all pitted at like lap 158 with the caution, and then they were the caution.
That cost me the fucking race.
Rob after that was yeah.
So Alex,
your teammate cost me a win.
Alex
Again.
wasn't hugging the bottom.
It's never your fault. So
Alex wasn't hugging the bottom like Rob thought he would have, and Alex came up, Rob came down. Rob and him again turned. He actually went right down to the apron, but because Alex went down to the apron to avoid Rob at the same time, they both collected again. Rob came flying back in the middle of the track, parked it in the middle of the track. Meanwhile, I have Kevin pinching me down into 1 and 2. I have Travis directly right in front of me, and I can't see anything. I can't basically move wherever I want to go. As soon as I see Rob, I slam on my brakes, lock them up, slammed into Rob. Travis hit Rob. Kevin hit Rob.
Everyone hit Rob.
Everyone hit Rob.
Everyone hit
he looked
Rob,
like
basically.
Dean Thompson.
Yeah. So talking about horrible seasons, I guess Rob is right up there with you, Justice, on the bad standing so far.
Always got to bring Justice into it.
Yeah, well,
unfortunately,
we're kind of on that.
Probably had the worst seasons so far.
Yeah, I think
Fair.
For his case, the defending champion, the 2-time defending champion, as he made sure to make us aware last week. It's a rough start. We'd expect him to have gotten in victory lane by now, but it really just shows the uptick in competition, because outside of Daytona, where he was obviously wrecked along with Kevin basically from the top 2, Rob's not really had an opportunity to be out front doing what we're used to seeing him do. The competition's just stepped up. Even yesterday, I don't think, and I had this conversation with Rob earlier, that he even had a top 5 car. or he was fringe top 5. Like he didn't have a winning car by any means. It was going to kind of be if that race played out, probably between me, Trevor, and Tay. As long as Tay could get back up there. I know there was a little bit of a debate, Tay, when you did get back up there between you and the 56. If you want to dive into that, I was blown away when he keyed up and said that. I was like, man, I don't know that he realizes who led the first 35 laps there.
Yeah, I don't know. I got frustrated with myself, and I kind of let my emotions take over. I had a lot of messaging back and forth last night between a couple guys. Me apologizing. That's something that I'm working on is keeping my emotions in check. But yeah, I mean that's short track racing. I mean he was throwing it in there pretty deep, and it was making me nervous. So I keyed up, said something, but I mean he never touched me. He never. I mean he was dive bombing, but he never touched me. So I should have kept my mouth shut.
Now,
He
is
was
this also when you keyed up and said nice blocking, or is this a different driver?
Oh no, that was Ted. That was Ted
Oh,
with a
okay.
broken toe link that was blocking me.
Oh, big surprise
Mr.
there.
Broken Toe Leg. Yeah, Ted was
Ted was having a
riding
bad
around.
night.
He was having a really bad night. I think that can lead us into the talk that and the admin. This is something that the drivers aren't privy to. So we have admin radio. The 6 of us try to be pretty active in there, mainly to talk about, hey, is everybody good? Or is there any issues we need to be watching out for? And then all of a sudden, we hear Ted and Blake key up and start going back and forth. And it kind of got rowdy. I would like to hear some other admin opinion because I try to stay out of it. Blake and I are personal friends, but I think some other admin opinions and maybe even driver opinion of how that went would be nice
I
here.
think Kevin was probably the most invested into this by what was going on. So Kevin, if you wanna,
How was I invested in this?
You were the
you
first
were
one
the
to
first
key
one
up
to
and say
key up and
something.
say, "Hey, it was perfectly fine until that just happened."
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the hell started it. I know supposedly um, Ted's broken toe link. I don't know how he had a broken toe link without a meatball flag for 20 laps, but that's another story. And he was letting people by, and apparently the toe link was due to Blake. And I don't know how, because we looked back and we couldn't find any incident where they even, got into each other hard enough to damage anything. And then I think it was Christopher Berger maybe hit Ted at
Yeah,
some point.
so Chris was coming off of pit road and he was hugging the yellow line, obviously above the apron, but below the track, obviously the lowest lane you could go. And I think Lomax or someone informed us or was looking at it or something like that, and they said because Chris's car was literally in the A uh, post of Ted's car that Ted could never see him, or I don't know if the spotter even came up and said something to him, but when they entered the turn together, they both just came together on the low lane together, and that
Yeah,
kind of
and somehow that turned into an argument with Blake, who was on the other
Yeah,
side of the
so
track at this point. I don't understand
because
how.
so
Ted and
he and
Blake ended
Blake
up
made
racing
a
again.
little bit of contact, and Blake was trying to pass him as Ted was claiming a broken toe link, and I guess Blake keyed up and goes, "What the fuck?" Like slamming your brakes off of two is not the way to
Usual.
let this happen. And they kind of had a back and forth exchange. And this is where I want to get some driver perspective from Tay. Do you recall the what we're talking about, Tay?
No, not at all.
Okay, so
He was
that's what
too
I
focused.
was hoping he would. He was focused, locked in. I appreciate that, but I think it was going to be fine. The admin team kind of all agreed that up to a point we were going to let them go back and forth. That's racing. It's something that like post race in real life, you see guys get out of the car, go talk to each other because they can't key up in the middle of the race and talk to each other anymore. And I think that's what we were going to have there, and it was going to be fine all the way up until Ted decided to say a word that got Kyle Busch at Martinsville into sensitivity training. So that will be something we've discussed. Penalties are being ready to be announced, so I don't mind to say this on here, and it's that Ted will receive a penalty for use of a word that is a discriminatory, derogative, not one we're going to repeat on this podcast, but it was the way it was directed. So again, we were going to kind of let it fly up to then. It was a heated argument and a heated exchange, and we'll let that fly to a certain point, but it was taken one step too far, I believe.
The line was crossed, and
Yeah.
it wasn't for our viewers. It wasn't I would call it a very bad derogatory term, but one that some people will deem derogatory. But it wasn't to the levels. It wasn't a Kyle Larson level derogatory statement.
No,
So,
yeah, it wasn't that, but it was.
Thankfully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, if it was that, I mean, you're looking
We-
at automatic league, man. Like
Yeah.
that's you're out. See you later, kind of deal. This is going to be more of just a, hey, here's a points penalty. You're going to serve an EOL the next time you're here, and that's the part we had to toss back and forth with Ted. Ted is a part-time driver. What penalty even hurts him, right? Like the points penalty doesn't kill him because he doesn't run enough for it to make a difference. The EOL. Unfortunately, doesn't necessarily kill him because we all know Ted's hyper aggressive. So, but we had to do something and make it clear that to everybody it would be a penalty because it kind of lets everybody know, hey, if you're a full time driver and do it, you're getting the same penalty, and that's who it'll hurt.
Yeah, the other thing that we can take away from all that is that uh, our league, we pride ourselves in being friendly, and we do what we have in our Discord, quote unquote, as a bitch box for people to go in there and speak their displeasures in a respectful manner, you know. And we've done this league for this is our third season, and it just shows to the quality of drivers that we have here that this is actually the first time we've ever had to hand out a penalty for voice comms. So it just shows you how like respectable everybody is here. And obviously, like Tay was saying, like the emotions can get the best of you sometimes, but yeah, Ted went a little bit too far right there.
And I think from my perspective, as somebody who's had a very heated verbal exchange with Ted, um, it definitely you got to be really careful towing that line. And what we didn't want is another situation where we have drivers intentionally wrecking each other over things said because we've had that happen. And kind of had to handle that. So we don't want that to continue on. So it's just one of those things. You have to unfortunately make some pretty tough decisions when it comes to this. And although it's probably something that a lot of people have used at some point in their life as a term, it's not something we can allow in that scenario.
Yeah, no, not at all. And now let's dive into a little deeper here into the actual Richmond race. So we have all heard the term cautions breed cautions, right? So obviously we've had that one caution came out. I think it was the one with Rob and Berube that started this whole thing. But then we had what 3, 4 more cautions after that. But I know
So I think we
Kevin.
had the caution on like lap 152.
That was for
And then
Rob, right?
no,
No.
Rob was the 190 caution. I don't really remember what the caution was for on like 152. I look at my track map and didn't see anything, so I don't know what happened there. But yeah, that was the point where it started. But yeah, if you want to get Kevin, give us your perspective on that. You know, the cautions late and the
Well, my
entertainment
perspective
value.
was that my car wouldn't turn, and every caution just meant that that's one less position for me to lose. So I was kind of happy for the cautions, but at the same time, I just wanted the race to be over at that point. I got the tow link at least somewhat back attached on the car, but it still was not right. It was not turning at all. But yeah, it just seemed like everyone at the end of the race there getting bunched up was like, hey, I'm going to win this. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean,
Hey,
we got 2 laps. You've been running this for 100 and something laps already, and you haven't passed anyone. You think you're really going to get it done in 2 laps?
Tay, where you were back up there, right? You were like 6th or 7th on those last 2 restarts, I think.
Yeah, I was in that area, 6th, 7th, 8th. I ended up finishing 6th, but yeah, we had what 2 or 3 cautions in the last 50 laps. I really could use some green flag there.
Did tell you on that last restart for the green white checkered, you were directly behind Justice, right? Or were you on the outside lane?
No, I was directly behind Justice.
Okay.
And then
That
Justice
had to
just
be a
goes
hell of a
left.
view. Yeah.
You had a front row seat.
At some point I learned my lesson with that. That's about the third time that's happened to me this season where I get to somebody's bumper and I don't know what it is with these cars, but for whatever reason it'll shoot you left or right. I don't know if it's the way I'm offset to their bumper or what, but yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, I didn't think that I'd gotten into you, but
Mm.
as close as I was, I almost keyed up and apologized until I went back and watched the replay. I was like, if I did, it had to have been netcode.
Yeah, I mean, you were like feet off of me. Like you were further off of me than because I thought the same thing. I thought, well, maybe I overspun first gear, like over revved it, but that wasn't the case. I short shifted, so I got to second gear fine. But it was like when I got to Dunford's bumper, I just went left, straight left. I squared the inside wall straight on. The car probably could have kept going, but at that point, I was gonna finish probably basically in the same spot either way. I was going to be like 16th, 17th. So it's just
Tay,
easier to park it and not cause a problem.
Tay, when you were on that last green white checker, because since we used the choose cone, did you know that Berger took the inside on that?
Yes, I did. I was kind of trying to flip flop him because I felt like he had old tires. I heard people keying up over the radio about it. So I was just trying to get the best line I could. I did choose the wrong line a couple times, which hindered me. But yeah, if I could do it all over again, there's a lot of things I'd change.
No, I mean I understand the inside because once you get past the start finish line, you can duck it on the inside and take it 3 wide if you want to. Really outside, choosing the outside lane's really kind of shitty in some ways, especially in short tracks, just because you basically are just declaring yourself you're gonna lose a position on the restart, really.
Yeah, I felt like I could really roll that second lane if I could keep it to the outside on corner exit. I felt like I could just fly down the straightaways and get a really good entry into 3. Yeah, I was probably burning my tires up a little more than I wanted to, but at that point, I was just trying to get the best finish I could.
Yeah.
Do we
Um.
want to talk about where you were most of the race, Nick? Because I know you talked about Kevin being way back
Yeah.
there, but you were kind of locked in traffic back there. I want to know from I spent most of the race not locked in traffic, so I would love to know what it was like having to run back there. I know y'all were double file a lot.
Well,
Grant was saying that in admin, it was tough.
yeah. Anything like really 10th on back was shitty. But no, I mean I was top 10 during that
Mm.
whole stage, even after the stage. The only reason why I ended up going back there is because we have a rule in our league. It's called the blink rule. Basically, if you have internet connect issues, your car will be blinking. The first blink is just a warning. You can stay where you're at. The second one is, hey, you're still blinking, try to get out of the way for guys. And then third one, it's more of like, hey, you're still blinking, you gotta pull off, go to the back, try fixing your internet. So that ended up happening to me. I think I was like in 7th at that time, ended up going all the way back to 20th or 21st or something like that. And then I found myself around Jacob, Blake, a couple other guys back there. And I mean, you're just stuck in traffic. It's literally like a train. You think you're at the caboose and you can't really go anywhere. You think you can pass some guy on the high side and then all of a sudden you get driven over by the guy on the inside. So it sucks in some stands of it, but I think Kevin can attest to this too that if you did save your tires back there after like 15, 20 laps of green flag run, you can start picking guys off one at a time.
Yeah, because that's when I started going backwards. I wasn't saving my tires.
Normal Kevin Parker. You kind of pick who's going to do that and
That's what
fall
Justice
back.
and I said about Tay after the first 7 laps when we were watching the lap times he was putting down. We were like, oh yeah, he's gonna fall back real quick.
Yeah,
Never did.
honestly, well, but he got two cycles to cool the tires.
That
We
is
got
true.
two cautions in the first stage. I don't clicking on everybody that I saw click off like a 22.4 in race at any point over the last week, including stuff officials. If they click that kind of time off and then we're running kind of that like 22.6 consistently for a few laps and then kind of backing off, after about lap 13, 14, 15 of being green, they started dropping like a rock. They would be like 2/10, 3/10 off pace. So that's what I was expecting to see from Tay, but getting to kind of cool the tires off, and you can kind of speak to this, Tay. Maybe the car didn't quite tighten up like I was expecting it to.
Tay, did you pay attention to what the percentages were after your pit stops on your right
Yeah,
front?
yeah. My I believe my right front was at 80 and my right rear was at 90. I was burning it. I was burning it up a little more than I wanted to that first stage probably. But I had ran so many laps the week before. I honestly almost got sick of Richmond, and Richmond's one of my favorite tracks. So, I had a pretty good feel of the pace I wanted to go. Yeah, I wish that we would have had a lot more green flag laps, and I'd have a little bit more information. But I don't know. I felt really good about my pace. I didn't think I was pushing too much. I guess yeah, maybe a little of the first stage, but not much.
I mean, you were quick actually. I wouldn't say surprised, but I was impressed by the pace that you could maintain, especially driving through the field like after the penalty that you had to serve, and you got back to I think the top 7 within 30, 40 laps of green flag laps. So it was actually very impressive for you to pass all those cars.
Well, thank you, but I really was feeling it after about 20 laps. It was
Well,
sliding.
it was funny when you qualified on pole and then you were quick in the stage. I was like, not too surprised when you look at Iowa last year. To be honest, that probably was going to be a win on your part. You just fell on the shitty end of tire call. Honestly, you'd made the right call for the race staying green, but I guess like we tend to do, we got that late caution and you were stuck. I think you were out of tires right when that happened at Iowa, and everybody else had a set. You were just kind of a sitting duck. It was how much could you maintain? Even though you knew you couldn't win at that point, you were kind of just out there. But that's it. Didn't surprise me. I mean, I was basically fairly similar to Richmond. You have a little more exit room off of 2, a little bit different banking, but kind of going down the front straight, it's the same feel. I was a little more bumpy, but I just felt like you had a great feel for it all night.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Richmond and Iowa are very similar, which is probably why I like them both a whole lot. Yeah, I kind of looked back, just kept thinking about Iowa. I did have 2 extra sets of tires in the pits just because Iowa left a really bad taste in my mouth. Um, so I had a lot of motivation in coming into Richmond, and I'm actually pretty disappointed with the 6th place finish. I really felt like I lost that one on my own. I beat myself, and um, I'm getting all the mistakes out of the way early, I guess.
Yeah,
Better to do it now than later.
I just want to let you
Yeah,
know,
hundred
Sure.
percent.
sixth place is a very respectable position, okay? Especially coming from Mr. Sixth Place, okay?
Mr.
Thank
Sixth
you.
Place himself. I talking about winners and winning races. I think our winner this week kind of called his shot. Nick, that's your teammate. I think we've made it pretty clear. I mean, me and Bennett have known each other for 14 years now. We're good buddies, but um, if I was going to be excited for somebody to win that wasn't a teammate of mine, it was going to be that guy. He has done a lot of work over the last 2 seasons to grow, become better, learned some hard lessons along the way, and taught me some things about being a better teammate when I could. Um, but definitely proud of that guy parking at victory lane, locking himself in the playoff, and got himself the race win in his sponsored race, Slurp Sodas. Man, that's exciting. I know you talk about locking into playoffs. I know Tay, you kind of were the beneficiary of a rules fiasco, and I know that's not how you wanted to get locked in the playoffs. You made it pretty clear you would like to kind of surrender that if you could, but I think it's just one of those things. Over time, it kind of softens the blow. But talk about being locked in, because you are locked into the playoffs, and maybe how that changes your strategy in some of these races where you feel like you're maybe not on pace. Maybe you take two tires somewhere or stay out, be a little more aggressive on some things to try to get some more playoff points.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely opens up some options. I I'm still not visualizing myself locked into the playoffs. I'm still going for that win to lock myself in to kind of confirm that I belong there. I don't want to get in there and feel like I'm just riding around, not competing. So goal is still get a win. I'm just acting like I'm still fighting for that win. I don't have a playoff spot. I don't want to get in there and be the exception.
It's a good way to look at it. Actually, I
Great, yeah,
like that.
it's a
I like
great way to
that.
look at it. Yeah.
Keeps the fire going.
Thank
So
you. Yeah, thank you.
I know for guys that are currently are locked in, like Tay, yourself, Trevor, you two that are here on the podcast. I know Bennett spoke about this briefly last night after his win, that now that you both are locked in, now you can focus on the bonus points for playoffs. Like the stage win is an extra 1 point. Obviously, race wins are three. Um, but just getting so that kind of helps you to change your strategy every single race, where it's like, okay, cool, I know if I do this, I'll be paced with the leaders. But if I change it up a little bit, it might be that 50-50 shot that I get to catch a caution, or it stays green, I could win the race. And really quick about Michael Bennett winning yesterday. I know Rob, who's unfortunately not here tonight with us, he actually reached out to me and he wanted me to say this to Michael Bennett, who actually is not here, so he'll have to listen to this. But Bennett keeps calling Rob Mr. Two-Time for winning two back-to-back championships. So Rob would like to call Bennett from now on Mr. Two-Time, also for having two race wins in the league.
Yeah. Yeah,
until he,
congratulations. Bennett ran an awesome race. I mean, he he's just quietly consistent. If if I didn't win that race last night, I couldn't have think of somebody else better to win it than Michael.
that
So he's
that
always raced me with tremendous respect, and I try to give that back. So I was really happy to see him get it.
that was my statement I made to Parker, my teammate, last night after that finished, and I was like you, Tay. I was really upset that we both made mistakes that cost us the race. But I was like, well, if I'm gonna screw up my own race, there's nobody else I'd rather see in victory lane than Bennett. Definitely don't want to see Justice or Rob in victory lane ever again.
Hey,
But,
I made that call last week on my podium interview too with Patrick, saying that the 14 was a good pick. Yeah, and I think Tay's dead on. He kind of went about it quietly. He's very self aware on the track. I think that's something that everybody wishes they probably had better. I know Tay and myself had some run-ins last season on the track, and it got to a point where I finally had to message Tay and go, "Hey, whatever I've screwed up, let's talk about it. If you need to just go off on me, go off, but let's try to squash it." And Tay's always very talkative when he needs to be, and we kind of resolve that issue, and it changes how people race you. I know I said it last week was I struggled with that, and I had to. That's something that I tried to learn from Bennett was if your pace isn't there, don't race people like a dick, because the races where your pace is there, you want them to cut you that same break. You need to race them and cut them that same break when they have the speed.
Yeah, 100%. And just to kind of cycle back to what you said about us having some instances last year, I think it takes a lot for somebody to reach out and say, hey, what's going on, or I messed up, or is there something going on with you? And I think that kind of evens things, lets things lay low a little bit. And kind of start fresh. I think you and I have not really even bump drafted this season. I mean,
Mhm.
some people take it too far and let their pride get in the way. And I appreciate a lot of the guys in this league are open minded and will listen to what you have to say and accept apologies and say I could have done this different, could have done that different, whatever. So hats off to you and hats off to everybody in this league for communicating pretty well.
I think somebody else I want to give credit to for growth on that end, and being extremely self aware. Excuse me, extremely self aware when he gets himself in a bad position or he's in an incident, and a lot of times not even his fault, and it's Travis, your teammate, Tay, and Kevin, your teammate. Um, he's come a long way from the first few races we had with that guy, and he is always, hey, is there something going on? I'm sorry, I think I might have run you over, even when it's not his fault. His growth on that end has really impressed me, and he and I have had a lot of very good conversations in that case as well. Just he's been very very open minded to suggestion and hey, what did I do wrong, or can we fix something? I really have grown to like that guy a lot.
Yeah, Travis is a super humble guy. One of the biggest hearts you'll ever meet. Takes a little while to bust through that shell, but once you do, man, he is a great dude.
Yeah, I know. I met Travis obviously when we were in the other league together, Tay, and even first meeting him, it was like, oh, okay, little hot-headed guy, maybe runs a little bit,
Yeah.
too hard sometimes, but gives. But no, but seriously, Travis is one of those guys in this league that is 100% respectable. He's a class act. I know he changed his number to 22 for a very significant reason. I know Tay, you probably know, and Kevin, you probably know enough when you guys want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. Travis is a veteran. He is very conscious about suicide awareness. 22. He changed his number to the 22 for 22 vets take their life every day. Um, he's he is the kind of guy that will do anything and everything for anybody. Like I said, he's got a hard shell, but once you bust through that thing, man, he is one of the best people you'll ever meet. He's helped me tremendously on iRacing. I feel like I've improved quite a bit from last season just because of Travis. Um, I yeah, I can't say enough good things about that guy.
Kevin, you want to share some thoughts? That's your teammate, and you're the
yeah,
team captain. I want to kind of hear what you
I
have to
mean,
say.
Tay pretty much said everything about what he's doing with that number and everything. He's from the beginning. I don't know if you noticed the different sponsors and whatnot on his car throughout his time in the league. He is super dedicated to providing awareness and support for the veterans. I'm not privy to what he does, but I could tell he's really passionate about it. So I'm sure, apart from just spreading awareness, I'm sure he's putting his foot in there and doing everything he can for it. Um, it's really rare to see someone that passionate about a cause. So it's refreshing to see. Um, and again, he's one of those guys he would do absolutely anything to help someone else, even if you didn't know him. You cross paths with him on the street. He's the kind of guy that like he sees you with a flat tire. He's not just gonna drive by. He can't. He can't. That's just the way he is. He's not gonna be able to just drive by and say, "Oh, they'll take care of it. It's fine." He's that person that goes out of his way to help people, and it's. I'm really glad I had a chance to meet him, and I'm glad to have him on my team.
Yeah, actually, Travis is one of the many guys actually reached out to us to actually come and talk on the podcast with us. So I believe we actually scheduled a date for him to come on in the next few weeks. So can't wait for him to come on here and actually talk about more of what he does, everything that he's passionate about as well.
Yeah. So
It'll be a great episode.
yeah, moving on from Richmond. I want to get your thoughts, Tay, kind of first about next week we make a fun little trip about an hour and 15 minutes north of me, where they have put some dirt on a beautiful concrete track. So, what are your thoughts about Bristol Dirt running there, and kind of what you see for yourself when we get up there?
I'm probably gonna start running laps as soon as this is over, to be honest. I've ran some street stocks, a little bit of the super late models on dirt. I'm not a dirt guy, so I'll be lucky if I make that top 18. But I think I'm gonna be sitting on the couch watching you guys sling it.
Stay off the top line after about 10 laps. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
hops the rear end. I can tell you this from experience. I just ran
Okay.
a fixed before this.
All
yeah.
right, I
So
appreciate that.
Yeah, these
digging into
cars are
that,
real weird at that track.
top 18, Trevor, if you want to walk
Yeah.
us through, Trevor's got some format details that we kind of released to everybody the other day, but he's going to run through them for our listeners so that you can kind of get an idea of what we're doing up there.
It's Bristol, baby. It's dirt racing. We're gonna go have some fun, beat up some race cars, and probably yell at each other awful lot next week. But hey, we're gonna have fun doing it.
Likely.
So we're gonna essentially have a qualifying session like we normally do, or our practice and qualifying session like normal. And then that qualifying session will set the order for the two heat races. So odd qualifying numbers in one, even qualifying numbers in the other one. Those races will be 30 laps apiece. 7 cars from that heat will transfer from each heat will transfer to the main, and then the top 5 in each heat, so heat 1 and 2, the top 5 will get essentially our stage points. Kind of like how we typically do it at a race at the stage break. Top 10 get stage points this time. The top 5 from each heat will get those stage points. Then we'll rack it up. The LCQ race, short one, 20 laps. Boys, best of luck to any of us if we're in that LCQ, because if you think if you get out of there without a broken car, you're doing pretty well. Top 4 from that will transfer to the feature, which will be 18 total cars, 100 laps. Around at that point, what I assume will be a pretty slicked off Bristol dirt track.
I know you speaking about the stage points, I know we give one bonus playoff point for each stage winner, but I don't know if we discussed this or not. Are we giving one bonus playoff point to each winner of the heats?
So go to each heat winner,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Just checking.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be the special where we give away 2 stage points basically, or stage playoff points. But yeah, I think the decision there was, as opposed to throwing a caution, we believe there'll be enough natural cautions in the feature. So trying to avoid throwing any extra of those and just make it a fun race. I agree with what Tay said. I will be popping champagne and watching the 18 strongest cars go at it because I am not a dirt guy at all. So my goal is just to try to make it. If I make the feature, it's where how high up can we drive this thing?
Now, I know we're gonna get to this in a minute here, but just kind of throwing a fun fact out there. The last 2 races that we've gone to is the last 2 times we've actually done this on the podcast since this podcast has started, where we've went on and we gave our own thoughts of who we thought was going to win the race. Now, we actually are 2 for 2 for listeners that took a vendetta against us because we did not pick them. Burns at Coda and Bennett at Richmond. So keep that in mind, listeners. If you're listening to this and we don't pick you, you might be our third winner that we did not pick.
Yeah, you probably have a good chance. Everybody else is probably cussing us like we're TJ on DBC. uh, Pick them and they're screwed. But I think we have a couple of guys that I would call dirt track aces, guys that came from the Tuesday night C2C league. I think that's what they do. They split over there. They run like 2 dirt races and then an asphalt, typically super speedway or a speedway, big speedway track in the trucks. So I think we're going to see those guys get up there, contend, and it may not be some faces that we're used to seeing up there.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if we want to dive right in here because actually I see that we are going to do 2 picks, actually one for the winner and one surprise pick that we think that is not going to make the feature. So
Ooh, I like
Tay,
it.
you're our guest. We're going to let you go first. We're only going to do the winners first. Mind you, you cannot pick yourself, and once someone has picked someone, you cannot pick that person again. So Tay, give us our thoughts of who you think is going to win Bristol Dirt.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm not sure who all the dirt guys are that came over from the other league. If I had to throw a wild guess, I'd have to go with my teammate Travis Gilbert. I've seen him run dirt. I've seen him run Bristol Dirt. I haven't seen him run the next gen on dirt, but I'm assuming he's going to know how to get it done.
All right.
He was one of my top 3 picks I would have picked, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, get screwed over, Nick.
Yeah, don't worry.
Go ahead.
Every
Go
week,
ahead and
every
give us
week.
your pick. Go ahead and give us your pick,
I was,
Trevor.
yeah. Go ahead, Trevor.
So I'm gonna go, even though he says he doesn't like the next gen cars at all. We had a hell of a battle in a truck race at the Bristol Dirt track. Uh, yeah, Nick, I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah, you
I'm
know
gonna
who
go
he's
with the guy
picking.
in my frame, at least it's right above me. The 27 Ford Starry Sodas drink. Tay's teammate, Kevin Orlando. Man, every time we go to a dirt track, he's quick. Had that hell of a battle in a truck race when we were running trucks on Mondays, and I think he's got what it takes.
Kevin, I mean, you just got
I
picked,
mean,
so we gotta throw you to the wolves, and you gotta go next, bud.
well, I mean, I don't know how good I am compared to these dirt guys coming over. We have a lot of, hot talent here. Um, but no, I appreciate that, and I know Patrick was, doing the same thing and expecting me to win this. So if I don't, I'm just gonna say it's his fault. It's bad luck on him. But if I had to pick someone, I really think we're gonna get a surprise winner here because the amount of new dirt guys we have coming over, and I know he's really fresh to this league. But after seeing him on the asphalt and knowing he's really got a dirt background, I think I might have to go with Greg Wood.
Ooh,
That's absolute surprise, but after seeing him on track on the asphalt, he is quick, and I know he's more of a dirt guy. So if he's anything like he is on asphalt and the dirt, we might have a problem with him.
interesting.
He
Yeah,
could
that
be
was a
our quickest first time winner.
yeah, that was
He
a
might be.
find from Bennett, referring us to him from an NIS race, and he came out. He did disconnect early last night, got wrecked out, but yeah, he was very
He's
He was
quick.
up
quick.
there.
He's
He was
quick.
up there. Nick.
So, I'm gonna go with someone. I was gonna go between 2 people here. So I'm gonna go with someone that's had very bad luck so far this season. Someone that in our previous league that we did, we were on the dirt a few times, and he's shown top 3 pace. So I think Mr. Rob Raider is going to get out of his funk and actually finally win a race. And what better place to do it than Bristol Dirt?
You took my surprise pick of not making the feature.
See, I
I hope you're wrong
ah
about that
yeah,
then.
holy
You
cow!
got
I don't see Rob getting a win until after Talladega. That's going to be my hot take of the day.
it. Ooh,
He does love the super speedways, but I just don't see it happening. But yeah, if I'm gonna go for my pick, since I'm last here to get the pick, we have a couple of the dirt guys. I think the one car, the 23, um, Smoot and the 92. These guys are gonna be decent. Lomax, I think, is probably a little better on dirt than we've seen him be on the asphalt. But if I'm gonna make my actual pick, it's going to be that 23 car. That guy is fired up, wants to win, has been good on the ovals for the most part. Struggled a little bit the last couple weeks, but I think he gets it back together. I really think he dominates his main, goes out, just flat out wins the feature and takes it from everybody.
Schaefer,
Mm-hmm.
my
That is
teammate,
Christopher
baby.
Schaefer. Yep.
My teammate. Let's go. Oh, okay. So that's our winners. So who's your surprise pick? Just we'll just go back to you, Justice, to not make the feature.
Oh, you're gonna let me thieve it, huh? No.
Yeah.
I think the surprise pick to not make the feature is going to be. I think Rob makes it. He's gonna find a way to get into the feature. I think my surprise pick to miss the feature maybe is Mr. Gilbert,
Ooh.
Caleb
All right.
in the 54.
That's actually it's a decent pick actually, not to make the feature. He's been probably one of the fastest guys so far. But I'm gonna go with someone. Actually, Tate, do you wanna go first?
Sure. I We haven't ran a whole lot of dirt at all in this league for 3 seasons, so I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just kind of going for with a wild guess. I'm gonna go with Berube. I
Ooh.
think that he's going to be a little too aggressive on the dirt and make some mistakes. So Again, not picking on anybody. I have no clue, so just throwing a name out there.
Even though he's my teammate, I would agree with you that he would be a surprise, but he does have obviously the road racing and oval background. I don't think he's ever been under ever. But I think my surprise pick, not to make it, oh boy, I literally had the name, and I know he's gonna hate me to say it because I know he watches it. His fan base is gonna hate me to say it as well.
I
But
was gonna say
Ooh,
it.
ooh,
Say it.
God.
Say it.
I don't know if Jeremy Burns is gonna
There
be
it
able
is.
to make it.
Yes.
I
We
don't know.
knew it.
Burns, listen. I don't know if you're decent on dirt. We're just going with the surprise guy that was fast so far this season. So if you do it, listen, Mama Burns, I know you watch this too. I apologize.
There
But
it
I hope I'm
He
is.
is
wrong. I hope
lying
I'm
to you,
wrong.
Mama Burns.
Our entire podcast audience is
Yeah,
now
just
uninstalling Apple
yeah.
Podcasts.
Everybody
Oh my.
unsubscribed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're never gonna have another listener. Okay, so can I take Rob since
Yeah, I mean you can. You're
Nick
not
picked
taking
him
him
to
to win.
win?
Yeah, I mean
You, look, as much as for our listeners who don't know, Rob and I go all the way back to the first league we raced in. We've always raced hard, made content. We always joke that we're gonna wreck each other, and we've been caught up in some things, just hard racing incidents between the two of us. But we always joke that there's a script, and I fully believe that Rob will get a win. However, I think that he. I felt like he showed it last week at Richmond, and this isn't taking a shot at Rob because I love Rob. I love racing with Rob and racing against him, but I feel like he's being over aggressive to try to get back in that rhythm. And it showed last night. I mean, he drove past me and Justice, got to the lead, and then in 15 laps was falling like a rock through the field. And I think at Bristol Dirt, it's going to require some finesse to get around there and be consistent, not spin yourself out, especially with how that track's going to change over the course of a race. And I have a feeling he might just be overly aggressive and find his way into the LCQ. And then, I mean, at that point, you got to be in the top four, and anything's possible. And I think I'm with Justice. I like Justice's hot take. I mean, Talladega after Talladega is probably when we see Rob get his first win. But that's going to be my surprise pick not to make it.
No, we go
the
to
hard
Bristol
part for
Dirt,
him
then
is
Talladega, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
where do we go after Talladega? That's I mean,
Is it
it's
Kansas?
Dover and we have
and Loveland's back at
yeah,
Bristol Dirt.
we have Loveland back. So Dover last year, Berube, if not from pit road mistake,
Speed.
wins the race by 5 seconds. So I think I'm looking at Kansas, Darlington, or maybe even Charlotte as being Rob's first win. But hell, even looking last season at Charlotte, Rob was not necessarily the quickest. So if he doesn't win at Kansas
the
or
race coming.
Darlington, it could go all the way into June before we see
Well,
a race
and
win from the defending champ.
he wasn't that quick at Darlington last season either.
Mm-mm. No, and
In
this will be a
Kansas,
day race. This will be a little tougher than the night race around there.
well, in Kansas, I mean that falls right into Caleb's, Loveland's, you know, mine. That's like right in our wheelhouse. And
Yep.
Charlotte, you know, had a two-tire strategy not been played. An incident occurred. I walk away with that one handily, but somebody just had to get in the damn way and cause an issue.
Cause an issue. I get wrecked by the guy that was pissed off.
And still, hey, winners find a way to win, bud. And I found a
Uh,
way to win that damn race. If it makes you feel any better, you got me back the next week in Nashville, and then I completely threw away a race at Homestead that I
I was
should have
about to
won
say
going
that
away.
the Homestead one was probably the one that made up the difference because I won the race
Yeah,
from it. So and I didn't. I just want to put this out here for anybody that doesn't know. I did not touch him at Homestead. He decided to step on his own,
yeah.
you know
You
what,
want to
and
talk
hit
about
Rob.
choking away a golden opportunity. I go from leading the race, walking away by like 13 seconds, to throwing a stupid block on a restart where I could have just powered up on the outside and cruised to a victory and took myself from winning to like 15th.
Yeah,
So
crazy stat alert here. Trevor in that race broke the single race record for most laps led in a race. that was previously held by Ray Lane in the 44 car. We don't see very often. But Ray had led like
102.
109, I think, and Trevor was at 126.
Yeah.
Neither one of them won the race
Hey,
that they
Rob
led all
broke
those
that
laps
record
in.
though
He broke it at Phoenix.
and won the
Yeah,
race.
and yeah, at Phoenix. Okay, so yeah, that two of the top three most laps led by Trevor and Ray. Neither one of them won the race. So took Rob finally doing it, making that happen.
It's great stat to be a part of. Fucking hate it here.
Yeah, so we go
But
to a very unorthodox track, obviously next week with Bristol Dirt. Anybody have some final thoughts, fun facts, anything that you guys want to say before we head out of here?
um, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, especially when the track's green. It's gonna have a lot of grip up top. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna take. I think the dirt guys and guys that have a little bit of dirt experience are gonna be in a lot better shape as you're gonna have to move around. I learned that today. I think you and Justice saw it today while I was running that you're gonna have to move that car around to find pace and not get yourself in trouble. But I think overall it's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, I think 18, uh, 18 cars in the main is a little bit weird for us. Having around 30 cars, but our call as admins were kind of what can we do to make this race not just a every 3 lap caution fest and make it fun for everybody. This was kind of the middle ground that we all reached, and I think it's going to put on a great show. We're all going to get an opportunity to showcase our skills or lack of skills that we have at the dirt, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I think actually the heats are going to be the most exciting to watch because all you're going to have all those guys. You're going to have fast guys up front. You're going to have the mediocre guys and the slow guys in the back, and they're all going to be fighting for those 7 spots to get in there. So I think the heats are going to be the most exciting. And I think the main is going to be a little laid back, obviously until probably the last 30 laps or so.
I think for the broadcast perspective, the most fun they're gonna have is not who wins the heats.
It's gonna be the LCQ.
Screw it. Yeah, I want to see sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth battling it out. That's what's probably going to be your exciting part because you may see some people that maybe are a little more skilled on dirt and just kind of fell back, got in a bad position. How willing are they to get up there and maybe door somebody and try to race it out with them? We don't want to see anybody just go turn somebody, but I think we definitely could see some door banging for those last few positions.
I want to see a Norm Benning style move. All right,
Jesus.
to get into the feature.
Jesus. You might in LCQ.
So, Tay, your final thoughts?
I think I'm just gonna have to reach out to my teammates Kevin and Travis and get some pointers from them. I mean, I'm gonna give it all I got and hopefully we have a lot of fun. Um, but I just don't see myself making it. I'm looking forward to watching the broadcast.
Hey,
If you ask
honesty,
nicely and go in the infield care center, Stella might drag you up and let you talk to Patrick for it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So any final thoughts beyond that, boys? Anything else we want to bring up? I know we've got another penalty. I know we talked about doing maybe an emergency pod with the race winner since he doesn't have internet. We maybe address. We do have a second penalty that is up for debate. That is I won't say it's a big one. It's nothing crazy, but that I think that'll be better to be discussed once we finalize that. So that look forward to that. We may have another emergency pod, or we may just address it next week. But I think beyond that, boys, I think episode 3 is nice and tidy, wrapped up now.
Yeah, done and dusted.
Tay, thanks for coming
for
on,
having
bud.
me.
Appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on and giving us our insights. You were actually a really good guest to have here as one of the most dominant cars at Richmond.
Thank you.
Better
Thanks,
cards last week.
thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun actually. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I enjoyed talking to you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, bud.
Absolutely.
We'll see it. We'll see you next week as we all inevitably die in turn 1 at Bristol Dirt.
And to quote
Yeah.
the great Michael Bennett, our host who's not here, this is when he's going to be waving the checkered flag on episode 3.
Thought you were about to flip off the camera there for a
No,
second.
no, no, I
Hell
don't.
yeah.
I would never do that. I would
Hell
never do that.
yeah.
All right, good night, boys.
Later.
Right.
Later.